America has a serious problem. Healthy political bodies must share a common moral and cultural foundation if they're to work for the good of their nation. This doesn't mean everyone has to think in lockstep, but there must be at least some shared tradition, some basic moral language with which the population can frame their understanding of political issues. This becomes especially true if the state expands its reach by assuming duties that once belonged to other social spheres like those of family, local community, or church. When the state is deciding whether parents should maintain custody of their children, whether individuals should be forced to receive experimental medical treatment, and what will be taught to every young mind in America, conflicts about what constitutes the good become existential. Originally, a system based on federalism was supposed to mitigate this problem by restricting the centralization of government and keeping most political power at the state level, where differences in regional culture could be expressed through local laws tailored to the traditions and dispositions of individual communities. In 2023, however, a vast amount of power has been shifted to the national government bureaucracy and local community has been shattered, making it incredibly difficult for regional unity to form in opposition to the toxic dictates of Washington, D.C. If states are to defend themselves from the hedonistic and destructive monoculture of Washington, then communities with shared values must once again concentrate themselves in specific geographic regions. America must engage in the Great Sorting. Economic opportunity is an amazing thing, but it has the nasty habit of fracturing communities. Young people who want to accumulate wealth and prestige leave their community and move to university towns to acquire the credentials necessary to hold high-status positions. Some recent graduates return home, but most move to metropolitan areas where high-status employment opportunities will be more plentiful. With the ease of communication and travel, few people feel it necessary to live in close proximity with family members who are only a text or plane flight away. Corporate culture is highly competitive, and climbing the ladder means being willing to constantly move from one part of the nation to another while chasing the next promotion, which completely removes any chance that a young person will set down roots and form a connection to a specific community. As a result, those who would otherwise become promising up-and-coming leaders in their communities tend to abandon the values of that culture and adopt a homogeneous metropolitan progressivism in blue cities dotted across the country. This is why no red state is truly red. Even if the majority of citizens are conservative, the cities that serve as their economic and cultural centers are thoroughly blue, and those progressive enclaves have an outsized impact capable of derailing the moral consensus of the state. America is divided by zip code, not by state lines, which means that it's incredibly difficult to create the unified cultural and political will necessary to protect the population from the oppressive reach of Washington. Alright guys, I need to talk to you about today's sponsor, Noble Gold. Now you may have noticed that things are a little unstable out there and you might be looking for something that can protect your investments. You can reign in wealth like King Charles with a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments. Just as King Charles' magnificent crown symbolized wealth and power, a gold IRA can fortify your own financial kingdom. Imagine the confidence that comes from a retirement backed by a tangible, proven asset, gold. An asset that's not at the mercy of unpredictable market swings. A crown may not be included, but isn't a future free of financial stress a worthy throne? Like royalty, enjoy the luxury of choice. Gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, the realm is yours to command. Fend off concerns about economic downturns and let your wealth thrive with the timeless security of precious metals. This month, the first solid quarter-ounce gold standard bullion coin ever issued with Charles III's image can be yours with your own qualified gold IRA or 401k rollover of $50,000 or higher. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. Call Noble Gold Investment at 877-646-5347 to get started, or visit MacIntyreGold.com. That's MacIntyreGold.com. Until recently, most individuals were happy to trade community for prosperity, assuming that enough disposable income could always shield their families from the social consequences, but recent events have dismantled that illusion. The pandemic lockdowns and the biomedical tyranny that followed suddenly made it very clear that local and state governments could mean the difference between life and death. That high-status corporate career in New York may have looked very nice, But if your grandparents died while locked down in a nursing home and you lost your job because you refused to take an experimental vaccine, then your ability to attend a trendy brunch on Sunday morning seems less important. It suddenly became inescapably obvious to millions of blue state residents who were not bought into the progressive religion that they were at the complete mercy of fanatics with whom they shared no common values. Blue states have been making it borderline illegal for conservatives to live within their region for decades by making it impossible for anyone with opposing values to get a job or own a business. Those that oppose progressive orthodoxy may have been willing to remain quiet and keep their head down on social issues, but when schools, churches, and businesses were shuttered indefinitely, the cost of remaining in blue states became visceral. Faced with the prospect of living with an N95 mask strapped to their face for the rest of their lives while Black Lives Matter protesters burned down their neighborhood, many decided to flee to regions that had stood against the progressive jihad. As Americans fled biomedical tyranny, they settled in states like Florida, which became redder as a result. A culture of resistance against progressivism formed into a more conservative moral identity, and the political capital accumulated by Governor Ron DeSantis due to his opposition to biomedical tyranny allowed him to go on the offensive against progressive indoctrination in a way that many had thought impossible. Florida, a swing state which had been trending purple for a decade, suddenly became the subject of endless hyperbolic progressive hit pieces as it banned the teaching of critical race theory and radical gender ideology. DeSantis rode his wave of political momentum and converted it into a resounding electoral victory by reforming voting laws during the 2022 midterm while the rest of the GOP fizzled. The governor refused to stop, following up with a ban on transgenderist child mutilation and strict abortion regulations. DeSantis even teamed up with conservative activist Chris Rufo to take over a notoriously progressive state college and transform it into a haven for conservative students and professors. Not only were more conservative residents moving into Florida, but progressives were now actively fleeing the state as new legislation threatened what they held dear. Establishment conservatives had told their voters that the culture war was unwinnable, a waste of time, but by engaging in it directly, DeSantis secured power in a way that the right had not seen in decades. The great sorting is the way forward. There is no national cultural consensus. In fact, the moral visions of red and blue America are now diametric opposites which cannot coexist. Permanent Washington is so thoroughly corrupt and broken that no one, not even a capable leader like Ron DeSantis, will likely be able to repair it. Many have discussed the possibility of national divorce, which I think is unlikely in the near future, but the great sorting can and is happening right now. The left has made it impossible for red America to exist in their states for decades, and it's simply time to return the favor. Make red states redder. Create an environment where people can once again recognize the necessity of living next to family and community that share their values. Create the moral and political will necessary to defend your state from the corrosive, progressive monocultures forced on it by Washington, D.C. The rise in remote work has already afforded many who are no longer shackled to a blue city the ability to vote with their feet. The faster blue and red America can peacefully separate, the better it will be for everyone. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. If you'd like to get these broadcasts as podcasts, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the Auron MacIntyre Show on your favorite podcast platform, and when you do, make sure that you leave a rating or review. That really helps with the algorithm magic. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter or Gab or Substack, if you'd like to watch these videos on Rumble or Odyssey, make sure to follow the links down below in the description. And of course, you can read all of my articles and watch all of my episodes over at The Blaze. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.